we have moved to playing online via webcam. And that means that you could join the fun. Find out how in the description, and you might find yourself featured on the channel. Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Mass. Here we have a match of Vintage, changing things up a little bit here. Justin on PO. He's got a Proxy, Mox Sapphire, or Mox Opal. We'll see if we can determine. That has to be a Mox Sapphire. Opal wouldn't have Metalcraft. And a Gitaxian Probe. We are going to have some proxies on screen here. These are playtest cards. So it is a casual event. But we do have some great prizes on the line. 100% payout as always. And a custom leather playmat for the champion. Ben grabbing an Underground Sea into a Deathrite Shaman, a format where Deathrite can roam free, providing acceleration to the Xerox strategies. Those unfamiliar with the term, the Turbo Xerox strategy is a lower land count with tons of copies of cantrips. The quality of cantrips has improved greatly over the years. And we've got a Sensei's Divining Top off of Mana Crypt and a Soul Ring. So Justin with a massive amount of mana. The lower land count in these Xerox strategies allows for consistency and gives them game versus pretty much any type of strategy. Against control decks, you end up drawing more good stuff. Versus aggressive strategies, you can find your answers. And there it is. There's an answer. Collector Oof. That is going to potentially shut down Justin's entire board. It is literally all artifacts. He's going to tap to draw in response, force pitching a mental misstep. Ben has a Force of Will right there. And now the force back pitching Narset, leaving just Liliana the Veil and a question mark in Ben's hand. Justin draws that Sensei's Top, plays it, taps to draw, 1 mana floating, and a Time Twister. And that is why we love Vintage right there. Justin down to 0 cards. Facing down a Deathrite Shaman, potentially just going to get drained out over the next few turns. And instead, he is right back in this game with an incredibly explosive play. Sensei's Divining Top finding that Time Twister off the top of the deck. However, it also gives Ben a full grip. And Justin has already committed a lot of mana. Proxies are a complicated part of Vintage history. We got a Time Walk coming in here. Actual Time Walk, proxy dual land. And Ben's going to throw a Force of Will pitching his Singleton Brainstorm. And Justin's going to force back pitching a Narset. This is prior to the restriction of Narset, making those draw 7s even better. If you can land a Narset and bomb a draw 7, it is likely over, as you're going to be drawing 7 and your opponent's going to draw 0 or 1. And Paradoxical Outcome. And now a Snapcaster into a second Paradoxical Outcome. Snapcaster pairing so well with PO. The ability to return him to hand is just incredible. Now, it's not necessarily the type of card that people are even running multiples of, as it is kind of a corner. Well, not a corner case. It's something that kind of only comes up when you're winning. And you see here yet another PO. Justin goes by. I'm actually level 1. I'm level 1 actually. I'm not actually sure. He does play a lot of Vintage online. If you keep an eye at the best performances in Magic Online, you will be familiar with Justin's body of work. And now we've got a Narset. I think it's I'm level 1 actually. And that is enough there for Ben. He has seen enough. On to the next game. Xerox, believe it or not, actually favored in this matchup. It's actually the reason to play these Leovold strategies. It is hard to believe for people who haven't played the format very much. Even people who play the format a lot of the time feel that PO is just simply the best deck. Now, it does go through spouts of not putting up particularly good results, which is interesting. But as far as a busted draw engine, it is easily amongst the best. You know, Gifts Ungiven back in the day was seen to be just way too good. And I feel like PO is actually stronger. I mean, as far as 4-mana spells, Gifts is incredibly good, but we also had to play some kind of janky garbage alongside of it. We used to play Recoup, a card that would allow us to get flashback from the graveyard. Now, often that would give you a win on like the first turn when paired with things like Black Lotus, or in my builds back in the day, a Singleton Dark Ritual. You could actually just have an incredibly explosive start and then, you know, use your gifts to replay everything. Getting Yawgmoth's Will and replaying your graveyard, tutoring up the win. But that was a very different era. Back then, Mana Drain was actually very, very good. You'd Mana Drain into your Gifts Ungiven. Vintage is just at a different speed at this point. I mean, a 2-mana counterspell is a big ask. A lot of lists not even running any copies of Mana Drain. I'd say maybe the majority of lists at this point. Mana Drain kind of almost seen as a fringe playable card just because of the incredible cost multiplier there. I mean, it's literally twice as much mana as a Red Elemental Blast or a Flusterstorm. It does have a nice upside, but it's not always relevant. I mean, there are plenty of times where Mana Drain has been cast in the turn past, or, you know, back in the day, take some mana burn. We've got a turn 1 Deathrite Shaman for Ben. No fetch land. Bayou enabling it. We'll see if he actually has a fetch. That does come up on occasion when you're trying to use Deathrite Shaman. Sometimes you just don't have fetch lands to go with it, and that is just a blowout. No, we've got a Strip Mine taking out and enabling a Sylvan Library, which gets Force of Will, so that Strip Mine takes out the basic island. Really kind of a rock for these PO mana bases to be able to have a basic island to work around. A lot of the time you have to fight through things like Collector Ooh for Null Rod, and you do not want Wasteland to be unnecessarily problematic. We've got Deathrite Shaman swinging in for 1, and this Tarmogoyf looking to set a clock here for Ben. We saw last game, PO very often just looks to turn the corner and resolve a single bomb, and Ancestral certainly one of those. Ancestral Recall, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. 1 mana, draw 3 cards. One of the most busted cards in Magic, period. And Justin just casually resolving that through a Force of Will, as Ben doesn't have a blue card to go alongside with his Force. Wasteland targeting Volcanic Island. Goyf swinging. And Wasteland taking out, leaving Justin with just a Mox Emerald. Now he finds another basic island into Soul Ring. And I believe that's a Mana Gorger Hydra. Let's see how big this can get. This Deathrite Shaman now becomes the major threat. Another Mana Gorger Hydra. Sensei's top may need to do some work here. Justin absolutely gonna need either to find a way to win on this turn or an answer to this Deathrite Shaman. Now he's got a Lightning Bolt. If he's got red mana available in his hand, he does not. So he's got to scoop it up. Frustrating there for Ben, finding the answer to Deathrite Shaman, but unable to cast it thanks to Ben's relentless assault on his mana base. He had Strip Mine and 2 Wastelands, just continually knocking down his lands, and really that's a problem for PO, is going after their mana base. That 4 mana instant, I mean, it's 4 mana, so taxing it with things like Lodestone Golem or Thalia, going after the mana base with things like Collector Oof or Null Rod, or even things like Chalice of the Void, despite being restricted, or Lavinia is another one that people have been playing. Lavinia counters a spell if no mana was spent to cast it. As it turns out, if you get that down before your opponent gets to unload their hand full of Moxes, Lavinia also a really significant foil to these kind of huge, explosive mana bases. Ben taking a look at the opener, sees a Force of Will. Justin probably needs to be a little bit more selective with his openings than Xerox. Xerox kind of has kind of a more average, there's less extreme variance in Xerox in terms of the types of openings that you can have. Some of the PO openings are literally unbeatable, and there's very little in Xerox that would be like actually unbeatable. We've got a Force of Will protecting this Ancestral Recall, Brazen Borrower pitched on Ben's side, Mental Misstep for Justin. Yeah, there's nothing in Xerox that's just going to absolutely win on the first turn. There are certainly things that will correlate very highly with victory. For example, getting down a card that's going to shut off PO's mana base. But I mean, if they find an answer and they can back it up. Now we've got a Mana Gorger Hydra. Wasteland takes out a land, but that's really not where Xerox wants to be here. You do kind of need to slow things down. Another Mana Gorger Hydra. This swings for 2. That is not the most exciting follow-up that Justin could enjoy. Now a Mox Pearl pumping the team. Each spell he plays is going to add +1/+1, and that is going to be a paradoxical outcome that would be adding at least 3 counters as it draws a bunch of cards, and those Mox and Mana Crypt can be replayed. And Justin takes it down with green creatures in his PO list. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.